obvious mistake on Vikings' miracle play. Philadelphia like millions of people watching on TV, the Eagles saw the final play of the Divisional Round game when the Minnesota Vikings beat the New Orleans Saints on a last-second touchdown Sunday. The defensive backs, in particular, watched it over and over and over again. First, they saw it live because they would be playing the winner. Then they saw it several times in their meetings. After all, there was a lesson to be learned. And that was just as obvious to the Eagles' defensive backs as it was to everybody else. "I'm pretty sure you can give me a teaching point about that," Eagles safety Corey Graham said to a small group of reporters. "We watched it in the defensive meeting room, then we go back in our defensive backs room and we watched it again on this and that. Do you think anyone in here didn't watch the game? Everyone saw the game." Graham, of course, is referring to the play known as the Minnesota Miracle, when Vikings quarterback Case Keenum, from his 39-yard line, threw the ball up to Stefon Diggs about 25 yards down the field with about 10 seconds remaining. Diggs leaped and caught the ball near the sideline. At the same time, Saints safety Marcus Williams went low to make the tackle. Williams missed, Diggs pivoted, then ran for the game-winning touchdown as time expired. That's why the Vikings, and not the Saints, are playing the Eagles for the NFC Championship on Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field. "Play the ball," Graham said emphatically. "As a defensive back, I'm not going to lie, we really don't think that we're going to intercept every play. A lot of times, we're thinking, break it up, knock the ball down. So if you go back to the first thing you're learning as a kid, if you're a defensive back, don't let them catch the ball. That's it. I think Williams was just overthinking a little bit, obviously doing what his coaches told him, try to stay outside, can't let the guy get out of bounds, can't get a pass interference call. When you put all of that into it, it slows you down, and he probably got there a little too fast. He knew that he couldn't hit the guy because it would be a flag for pass interference. He was just in a bad situation. If you go up and play the ball and don't even worry about the guy, just knock the ball down, game over. Or just tackle the guy. Either or. That type of play could have just as easily happened to the Eagles in their 15-10 win over the Atlanta Falcons on Saturday night. In that game, the Eagles had to survive the Falcons' attempt on 4th and goal from the Eagles' 2-yard line with a minute remaining. Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan threw a pass towards wide receiver Julio Jones in the back corner of the end zone. Eagles cornerback Jalen Mills was in coverage and Jones couldn't make the catch. Eagles, 5 ways they can beat Vikings HS basketball. William Penhold's oft-over "Our guys know what to do, and they have downloaded that software enough that it's a little bit automatic for them," Eagles defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz said. Schwartz went on to say that safety Malcolm Jenkins also had coverage on Atlanta's Mohamed Sanu, with Rodney McLeod helping. So when Ryan sprinted out to his right, and saw Jones fall in the end zone, he couldn't throw to Sanu because he was covered. Ryan had to wait for Jones to get up, then got off a high pass as linebacker Nigel Bradham closed in on him. If Malcolm doesn't get that route covered, nobody's talking about Jalen Mills right now, Schwartz said. And no one is talking about Williams if he leaps to deflect the ball instead of going for the tackle, or simply stays upright and wraps up Diggs after he catches the ball. That way, Diggs would have stayed in bounds and time would have expired because the Vikings were out of timeouts. I mean, he's a rookie. Come on, Graham said. Probably the biggest stage he had ever been on. Everything is on the line, on one play. So there's a lot on the guy. He's thinking about all of this at the same time. So you can see how that can happen. And then you get there early, and you know you can't hit him. It's tough on him. You see how that can happen, so it sucks. As euphoric as the Vikings were after winning the game, they know they can't live in the moment while preparing to face the Eagles. That's why Vikings coach Mike Zimmer said it didn't take much for his team to refocus. "I think they watched the film of the Eagles," he said on a conference call. "I think that gets them focused pretty quick. That game was Sunday. This is Wednesday. so we're over that. Still, with two evenly matched teams, those are the kinds of plays that can decide whether a team wins or loses a game. The Eagles made the play at the end of their game, the Saints didn't. It just shows you that little things matter, McLeod said. I'm sure, Williams, he's made that tackle 100 times. It all comes down to that one play. When you don't execute, that's what happens in the playoffs. Middle linebacker Dan Lellerb, hamstring, was the only Eagles player who didn't practice Wednesday. Rookie cornerback Sidney Jones, who sat out last week with a hamstring injury, was a full participant in practice. Contact Martin Frank at mfrank@delawareinline.com. Follow on Twitter at mfrankinful.